Okay, so we've got our column set up, we got our floor slabs. Let's get some walls in here and we'll wrap it up. We're going to do a few different steps. So I'm saying wrap it up, but we actually have three more videos here, and I'll walk you through what we're going to do. We're going to do basic walls for the entry. Then we're going to do some basic walls and some direct shape for the main wall. Show you a couple different ways of doing that, or I'm sorry, for the podium wall. And then finally, adaptive components for the tower facade, which is a pretty cool way of merging some parametric Revit work with some parametric Rhino work. So let's start with our basic walls here for this video. So what I'm going to do is I want to grab, again, this is where we start to kind of like the fact that we have all this stuff organized. I want this entry floor curve, and I'm going to bring this forward, and we'll do the walls. We'll start it over here. So here is, and for the sake of, I put these in the other video, but I have these gates like that is, or sorry, I put it in the finish. It's like called a stream gate. So what you can do is you can plug the stream into here and then make it a true. So it actually won't do the columns, like it's not doing these columns unless I set this to true, and now it's doing them. So that's a way that you could kind of make this definition work a little bit faster. And again, that's set up in the final. So how you would do that is, you know, copy and paste this now and then run this stream through there and then do the one into there. Maybe I'll do this for now. You can, I did this for all the Revit geometry before, but maybe I'll do it just for the columns for right now. Stream and then the gate. It's gonna reprocess these direct shapes again. Let me pause it and come back. Alright, so it did that, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come up to this true false, and I'm going to make it false, and it's not going to do my columns. See, it's doing the pipes though, and I want to hide those as well. I want to try to just make this a little bit cleaner here so that I just can work a little bit easier. I'm going to hide, actually I want those curves. I don't want all these divisions though. Let me turn off all these points. Yeah, the curves are good to see the column center lines, but the points is getting to be a lot. There's something up here too. Oh, this is for my merge slab edges and my area. So it's always good to take, you know, after you've kind of finished like a portion of your definition, go back and kind of hide the things that you don't really need to see. All right, so now we have our curve that's down here, which we're reusing again. If you remember, if I go to a top view, I've got sort of the two back faces here and here, which are up against other buildings, and then the other faces here, which are, you know, visible from the street. So what I'm going to do is break these curves up and treat them differently as different types of walls. And so I'm going to do a explode this curve, and then I'm going to use a list item, and then I have my segments here, 1, 2, 3. So then if I click on curve, or if I type in curve and get this one here is one of my curtain walls. So let's call this curtain, because this curve is this one. Where is this one? This one here, this is over here, this is also a curtain. This one is the one that's all the way in the back there, which is up against the neighboring building, so I'll call this party. And then I will do the same for this one, which is the back. So let's do the party walls first, because they're kind of the most straightforward. I'm going to come into this wall and do add wall curve. Super straightforward. All I've got to do is plug in the curves that I want the party walls to go on, and immediately it just starts generating geometry. The type, I'm going to use, there's like a generic 12-inch wall that I'm just going to use for now. Right click, go to category filter walls, and then I'm just going to do generic 12-inch. Okay. So let me just zoom in here. You'll see that it's sort of like not justified where I want it to go. The level, you can also use a level component. And same way that for the type, I can just set it to be level 1 and set it on level 1. My height, I want that to be 20 feet. And that's coming from my floor to floor height. So maybe what I'll do is I'll actually just, well, that's actually coming from here, right? So let's just pull this forward to show you how we can reuse some of this stuff. Great. Location line. Now this, I was trying to find a resource for this that would tell me what number meant what. I couldn't, so I just ended up putting this in here. And I want it to be, I want that line to represent the outer face of the wall. So I'm going to just scrub through until I get the condition I want. So now I have the condition I want. Let's see. Flipped, no. If well, you know what? Let's check. So I'm going to show you guys in Revit. This is coming in. Here it is. If I go to a first floor plan, which we lost our plan, so let me just recreate that real quick. First floor plan. Excuse me. This line represents the, let me see. Usually there's a line, like an arrow, that represents the inside versus the outside. I'm not seeing it. Which is, let me see. Oh, yeah, if I, oh yeah. This line represents the exterior. So mine are in the wrong spot right now. So what I have to do is actually, I'm going to do a toggle and set the flip to true. And then actually I'm going to change this back to there. So if I come back into Revit, and you'll notice that I click on Revit a lot to try to get it to pop up. It doesn't always really work. It barely ever works. So you kind of have to go in. But if I look at this, finish face interior is what it's setting. I actually want it to be, let me go back here. We'll get this to work. So I actually want this to be finish face exterior, and then maybe we flip it. And let me come back to here and see. Doesn't seem to be cooperating. I mean, this is more of a finish face. Like if I set this for finish face exterior, that's kind of what I want. Oh, it might be using the core face. So let's see in this list. Center line, core center line, finish face exterior, finish face interior. Core. So we probably want it to be number 012. So let's do it 2. All right. And we're not flipping it. I think we've got it where we want it. One other thing that you'll notice, which is a little bit frustrating, is how I don't think it's actually, I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but usually this indicates where the interior of it is versus the exterior, but it doesn't seem to be kind of doing what I'm expecting, so I'm going to leave it alone for now. We're going to join these, especially because this wall is the same on both sides. I'm going to do this join, which is allowed joins, and I'm going to do true for that. And if I come back, you know what? I think that there might be something going on with the recompute here. So let me recompute this. Allows joins. You know, this was working before. You know what? I know what's going on. This has to be set for replace. So now, let me try this. Yes, it's doing everything I want it to do now. So this is working, the joins are working, so it's important to, set this to be what you want it to be to get it to do, well, so you know what? And then I've got to flip this. All right, now we're all set. We've got the finished face exterior being defined by the line, all of those things. So yeah, before what it was doing was as I was editing it, it wasn't overriding it or it wasn't replacing it. It was just updating it, and so that was the problem. But again, if I come back into here, it's doing everything I want it to do. That's on the outside like it should be, and so on. So there's some more live troubleshooting for you. Okay, and the join is working too. Before it wasn't joining this cleanly. That's working now. Okay. So back into Rhino. The next thing I want to do is I want to set this up for a curtain wall. So I'm going to do a curtain wall. Sorry, same component, wall from curve. And then we're going to put in both these. Okay. The type, I'm going to set it for a curtain wall, and we're going to actually edit this to make it function better in a second. But let's go to walls. And then let's do curtain wall 1. Plug that in. It's just a piece of glass right now. We're going to fix that in a second. Let's get all of this other stuff set up. So the location line 2. The level. The level, location line, height. It's 20 by default, so I'm just going to leave it for now. Flipped, true. Allow joins, true. So we've got sort of everything doing what we wanted to do. I'm going to right click on this and set my tracking mode to replace. And then if you look closely, if we look quickly into Revit, it's joining at the edges. It's kind of doing what we want it to do. But it doesn't look like a curtain wall, right? It just looks like a standard wall. So we could panelize this in Rhino, but there's a lot of really good curtain panelization tools in Revit that we can just use for this system. So what I'm going to do is click on this curtain wall, edit this type, and I'm going to set some of the things in here. So for example, like my vertical grid, I want a maximum spacing of, let's say, 5 feet. My horizontal grid, I want a fixed number, or no, I'm sorry, I want a fixed distance of 12 feet for my horizontal grid. My vertical mullions, I want them to be bigger, so 2.5 by 5. My horizontal mullions can be smaller, so I'll do 1.5 by 2.5. And then I click OK, and you'll notice we get like a pretty just standard, decent native curtain wall. And we don't have to do any sort of panelization or anything like that. If what we're trying to do on this ground floor is just your basic generic curtain wall, we can rely on Revit to do that. And what I can do as well is once I have this built, I can actually come in here and do things like adding in grid lines. So if I click on architecture, curtain grid, I could add, I could add another set of divisions above or something like that. And you could do like, there's ways that you could start to do a little bit more, um, you know, like details for louvers or whatever you want to do. If you wanted to have some sort of like entry detail, you could do that. And then you could, delete this mullion. Or no, I'm sorry. What you can do is remove a grid segment. So you could just click and like remove this. And now you have a solid panel. So now we're combating with our Rhino.Inside is updating all these things for me. So this is when, once it's set, you might want to turn this tracking mode back to update. So now if I come in back into here, I can start making those changes again, adding or removing segments, deleting that element, and now it will stick. And I might want to make this a door, so I can go into Insert, load Autodesk Family, and if I go into Doors, I have this like double curtain wall. Load that. So if I click onto here, I can change this to a door. Curtain wall double glass, so now I've got a door. If I go to my floor plan, it's showing up like a door. So like I can leverage a lot of the intelligence that Revit has for things like standard generic curtain walls by doing this. I could also start to add I could go back and add those divisions that went away before, but I could add one here. Add one here. Maybe, like I said, add some details around the doors so you could see like, oh, that's where the door is or something like that. Okay, so that's how we can do some basic walls in Revit. I'm going to show you two more kind of more sophisticated, complex wall systems in the next video.